going to begin. Welcome, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to our weekly Wednesday Eagle Team Training Call. It's August 19. Of course, Sky and Greg Hayes, Elite Pro 8 from Austin, Texas. We are honored today because we have a special guest, and thank you for joining us today in our weekly training call. But first of all, of course, I would like to give you some exciting announcements. How about giving you the highlights of LifeVantage, this year's LifeVantage fiscal results? Guys, ready for this? We have achieved 232.9 million in revenue. Woohoo! And then a total active accounts grew 2.3%. Guys, that's huge. It might look like 2.3%, but for active accounts growing 2.3 in this COVID season, that's huge, you guys. And ready for this? 10.6% distributor growth. That is phenomenal. I'm getting excited because most economists actually peg good economic growth in business in about between 2 and 4%, right? 2 and 4% range. But with a historical average of 2.5 annually. And we have 10.6% distributor growth. Do you guys know where LifeVantage is going? Because if you don't, I do. So a strong balance sheet with 22.1 million in cash and no debt. Oh my God. Wow. Wow, I'm flipping you guys. If you don't understand this, then please try to contact your uplines or your sponsors and let them explain this to you. Okay, Greg, are you ready?
Yeah, I get to say something on the first slide. And don't forget to register to the Global Convention on October 22nd to 23rd.
Exactly. So moving on to our motivational quotes for this week. Number one is, of course, formal education will make you a living. But self-education, you guys, will make you a fortune. So you make the choice.
Number two, motivation. Some people want it to happen. Some people wish it would happen. And others make it happen. So let's make it happen. We've been blessed.
Let's make it happen. Good, good, good. And the last but not the least, we must learn how to apply all that we know so that we can attract all that we want. Action speaks louder than words, you guys, okay? So
it's time where we have a 5-minute membership by one of our team.
It's actually 3 minutes. We
Whoa!
kind of like shorten it a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, but you were shortening it because we have a great speaker who's got a lot to teach us. So yes, we're going to do our quick mentorship where we're going to take one of our team leads and they're going to share some information that they've learned. So Kai, who is it this week?
I am so proud to introduce to you our Premier Pro 4 from Kona, Hawaii. Brandon Williams will share us 3 minutes golden nuggets for everybody. Okay, take it away, Brandon. Are you there?
I am here. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sitting in my vehicle in Kona because I'm surrounded by a lot of chickens and a lot of kids, so a lot of noise. So I'm in my vehicle. My topic today, or my nugget for today, is the concept of the 10 in motion. 10 in motion is actually an active sheet that you want to try to get 10 names on that you actively engage daily or on your schedule, daily or weekly or bi-weekly, whatever your schedule is. In my mind, the 10 in motion, it's basically like if you go fishing and you don't put your line in the water, you're not going to catch. You got to put your line in the water, and the 10 in motion will help you daily to get that line in the water and keep putting fresh bait on the line. So I did send out a video because I knew that we're down to 3 to 4 minutes. Greg was kind to say 5, but Kai was quick to say 3. But I did send out the video. Go to the LifeVantage YouTube channel or even in your app and look for the 10 in motion training. It's powerful if you take your time and listen to it. Don't just listen to it and check next. Listen to it and see what they're trying to say. Basically, a 10 in motion sheet has 4 columns. It has the name of the prospect, the reason why you thought of that prospect. It could be health. It could be because you think of them for business reasons, and maybe both. And then the direction or outcome in the next column, like where are we moving? What did I send him? Am I sending him something? What are we talking about? And then the 4th column is the date you did that. So tomorrow morning when you wake up, you look at that sheet. Oh, I sent Susie a video, and she asked me to send her something. I sent her a video on the Axio, and now it's time to follow up. So then you would do the next move with her. But so basically you got those 4 columns, and you want to try and have a spread of health, business, and family, or warm market in your 10 in motion. And they need to be active. It can't be a name that you're working on that just you have a communication. You send an invite and the black hole is there and it's gone and nobody's coming back to you in 2 weeks. That's not 10 in motion. Emotion is you're getting a response. You're going back and forward. I mean, if you're just acting like you got 10 in motion and you're sending out 10 messages into the black hole and never get anything, that's not 10 in motion, okay? 10 in motion is, it's an income producing activity. So remember, the 10 in motion sheet actually comes alive when the first name is added and an action was performed with a date attached. It becomes an absolute superpower when 10 names are added with the reason, direction, and next date attached. So basically each name has an action task ahead of it. And I call it a superpower because when you wake up the next day and it's time to do LifeVantage and you look at your sheet, you're going to see, and you're going to look at your phone from the day before. Oh, wow, looks like Susie got back to me. Well, it gives you an action to do. Susie responded by a text. She's interested. Let me send her the ABC. So it's an action sheet. Okay. So the example is, okay, you got Greg and you got Kai, 2 people wanting to fill their 10 in motion sheet. Kai's a go-getter. So she's like, you know what? We both have a prospect that's health related. So Kai quickly sends a text to Jane. Hey, Jane, I've got something really exciting. I think it's going to help with your headaches. Are you interested in learning about it? Boom, that's her invite to learning about it. Greg, on the other hand, he's like, geez, she really needs this stuff. I'm going to quickly do a meditation, see if I can bring her into the universe with this. I'm going to read Eric Worre's book one more time. I want to make sure it's a perfect text to her. You know, that's an activity, but it's not an action. That's not going to get the name on the list and the communication going both ways. So, you know, I have to be really fast. Yeah, I know I'm probably at 3 minutes already. So basically for me, the overview and the outcome of a 10 in motion sheet is your list will fill fast with names and actions to take. The list will actually tell you what to do next because of the recorded info you wrote down from the previous action. Now, in Greg and Kai's case, you know, Greg has nothing to do. When he wakes up, he looks at his sheet and he's like, I really need to send that to Susie. I think one more meditation might do it. But Kai has an action. She wakes up and she looks at her phone and it says, Susie said, yeah, she's interested. Boom, she has an action. That's motion. That keeps the communication going. So basically, you guys, if you want to catch a fish, you got to put your line in the water. And the 10 in motion is that bait box. You're sitting there and you open it up and it's going to tell you what to do. It's going to tell you what bait to put on, and it's going to tell you to keep this motion going between the two of you. So it's a lot of information in 3 minutes. There's a lot more to it, and it's really simple. But thank you. Hopefully you will take the 10 in motion.
Job. Brandon, I'm so proud of you. My goodness, look how our Premier Pro 4 is learning so much, learning how to take the courage to be in public, you know, to learn public speaking. And by the way, your training tonight is phenomenal. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you so much. And tonight,
what do we have tonight? We have a guest speaker. I hear you told me you had a guest speaker. I know I'm not very active,
yes.
But I do know we have a guest speaker tonight.
And everybody's so excited, Greg.
Look at
everybody's so excited.
Aren't they? And they're going to teach about the product. Man, is that important. I can't wait. So, Kai, could you please introduce our special speakers tonight?
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Greg. And by the way, I just want to tell each and every one of you, we are all so blessed tonight because she is here. She said yes to my invitation. We are just so blessed that this phenomenal human being, my friend, I'm so proud to call her my friend, and the top leader, one of the elite leaders in LifeVantage, and a sought speaker, by the way, in LifeVantage during conventions. So let me tell you a little bit about her. Dr. Nancy Bryan is from Scottsdale, Arizona, and is a certified diabetes educator, certified geriatric pharmacist, and a certified veterinary pharmacist. She is a veterinary and medicinal and nutritional formulator, you guys, and nutrigenomics educator. And Dr. Nancy is also a part of LifeVantage Science Advisory Board. She is a two-time breast and melanoma cancer survivor and a true warrior. She has three grown, beautiful children with two granddaughters. Yes, she's a grandma already, and a grandson that just arrived last October. Congratulations, Dr. Nancy. And if she's not networking or anything like that, she also enjoys hiking, golfing, water sports, and watching her favorite football team, the Michigan State University Spartans. So definitely, without much further ado, we'd like to call in our beloved Elite Pro 7 leader from LifeVantage, Dr. Nancy Bryan. Thank you. Hi, Nancy.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much. I'm so humbled and honored to be here. This is just always so fun for me. I love, love, love being able to teach about what we have. More importantly, I love to see all the smiling faces, especially right now, because we are not getting to see enough smiling faces, right? It's been really tough these last few months. And you know what? I just am so grateful to be part of this company and to be able to really just get to know so many different people. I know Kai has so many people that she's met and come across in this company outside of our own groups. And you know what? We're all one big family. It's probably one of the things I've enjoyed most about LifeVantage. And just to give you a quick background, you heard my background. I'm often referred to as the backward pharmacist. You may have seen one of my interviews or two with Darren Jensen, our president and CEO. And he was really interested to hear, you know, what it was that really made me think about the way I think. And I wish I could give you one set small thing, except the most important thing is that I've always really, really cared deeply about other people and how they do. And I find that with so many people in LifeVantage. So most importantly, I did not see that happening with our current medicine. I didn't see it happening when I was handing out prescriptions. I would see people come in and then come back for more and more and more, but yet I wasn't seeing them better. And so I was forever on a search to see different things, and I had great experiences with lots of things. But most importantly, it's always been research in the back of my mind. That's why I formulated. I was always looking for that next thing. When I came across this, I was so very excited. And here's what I want to tell all of you. I was told about this from a surfer. Did you hear me? A surfer. A doctor didn't tell me. A researcher didn't tell me. I did not find this in my research. I was told about this from a surfer. I was told about this from a dear friend of mine that cared about me. And I want to tell you that first and foremost, because we go into some science, sometimes it's kind of deep, and we go into a lot of sales things and business. But most important, this is about caring about people. So I love what Brandon spoke of. Those 10 people. Think about those 10 people and what an impact you can have on their life based on what we've had happen with us. So having said that, I want to get started real quick because there's a lot of information and I know we don't have a lot of time. And so let's get started. First and foremost, when I found out about this product, it was by somebody. He did share with me about a study. He told me about the LSU study on melanomas. I was going through breast cancer and melanoma, as you heard earlier, and I wasn't doing very well, to be honest. And so when he brought that forward to me, I have to admit, I rolled my eyes a little and said, okay, I'll look. Because there's never any real science on nutrients. And when I saw there was, that's what turned me on. So let's take a look real quick about what I got excited about. And that is the ability, something that I had not seen before, and that was for the ability of our bodies to actually activate and to actually utilize their own abilities. And that's so much more powerful than anything that I had experienced through supplementation, through medications. And so I'm going to see if I can share my screen. I'm really terrible at technology, but I try my best every single time, so we never know what's going to happen. So let's see what happens. Let's see, first and foremost. And Kai, maybe you can help me to make sure that, can you see my screen?
No.
I was so
okay,
afraid.
but I allowed you. I assigned you as a co-host, and then my Zoom is set for that you can share the. So click share screen, and then you're gonna see your slide. Click on your slide, and then.
All right, let's go back. So
okay.
Click share.
The green button. Click share, and then
Got it.
you can see which slide you want. Click it. Click the slide. There you go. You did it.
Hey,
So proud
see,
of
there's
you.
hope. I want you all to have hope. I do this a ton and I still can't figure it out, but I'm getting better. So what are we talking about? We're talking about activation, and boy, do I need my Axio tonight. So first and foremost, what we've all been told and what we've seen and witnessed through our lives is that everybody talks about, oh, what's grandma's, what's grandma or grandpa got going on with them? And we're kind of told that we're kind of stuck with those genes of what happens, right? Well, what I got so excited about this was that now we know there's science showing us that, believe it or not, there's some leading theories now on what creates the decline in our health and what we can actually do to maybe change some of those outcomes. That's what I got super excited about. So what are we talking about? Well, first and foremost, what's this thing on health decline? You know what? We go into our 20s and 30s and we're feeling great and everything's everything's working on all cylinders and everybody's happy. And then all of a sudden we get that little gray hair and we get that little wrinkle and then, oh, that little ache and pain, and things start on a slow decline, right? So one of the things that can create that is that we have something, the first theory that they thought of that's got probably the most history is the theory that oxidative stress was one of the reasons that we age. And if you look on here, you're going to be able to see all the different systems that oxidative stress affects. It can be the heart, the skin, the eyes, the brain, the lungs. I mean, virtually every system we have is affected by oxidative stress. And so what the heck is oxidative stress? Basically, it's the body being bombarded, all right? So if you take a look at some of the things that can cause that, it's everyday things. It's things like the things that we're eating. It's things like medications that maybe you're taking, or alcohol, or toxins, or pesticides, rigorous exercise. Who knew that rigorous exercise could be creating something not great, right? We're trained to think exercise is what really is the best thing for us. But here's the important thing that you need to know. As we start aging, our body's abilities to keep up with all of these things that are causing stress in our cells, we're not able to keep up with it. And so as a result of that, what we have to do is we have to flip the switch. We do need to try to eat the best we can. We do need to try to continue to move and to keep things going like we did when we were younger. But most importantly, we want to also be able to give our body that little, if you will, turbo, kind of that flipping the switch. And we're going to do that by utilizing this Protandim NRF2 synergizer. What it does is it helps turn on this NRF2 pathway. And why that is so important is, if you see here, it says it's the pathway responsible for antioxidant production. Well, remember we talked oxidative stress? Basically what that is it's all this trash building up in our cells, and we have a mechanism in our cells that takes care of it. And so we want that to operate at its optimum again. And we get that done by having these 5 wonderful ingredients in small amounts, not large amounts like a lot of supplementation we'll see, but small amounts. And when we have that happen, look at the benefits that we can see when we have this NRF2 pathway. It's going to lower that oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. Now, I will tell you, if you get out there, and I will challenge you, go look and see. There's several companies now because they saw what we were doing and they wanted to do it too. So you get out there, and I've seen some companies, I will not mention their names, but they have lost their minds on, had massive launches with products that are reducing oxidative stress by 7% in 6 months. I know that that's a benefit, but it doesn't hold a candle to 40% in 30 days. And let me tell you, this is something that's been tested and in real science, all right? We also see an increase in superoxide dismutase, and I don't want to get into all these chemicals, but also glutathione. The thing you need to know is these antioxidants are so much more powerful on the inside of our bodies than what we can get from the outside. It doesn't mean that you're not going to take your orange juice or your grapes or all of the things that we know that are powerful antioxidants on the outside, but they're not going to come close to being able to take care of this. We want to be able to have our own body's ability. Look at this, supporting the body's natural ability to repair and rejuvenate its own cells. There's nothing more powerful than our God-given body. And so we want to support the detoxification process the best we can. And look at this. Those enzymes we just talked about, they are capable of neutralizing more than 1 million free radicals. And you know what? That's in a very short period of time. So when we take a look at our approach, we're talking about, and I'm going to quickly slide through here because I want to get through all these slides, but when we take a look at this, we're talking about one free radical being able to neutralize 1 molecule of oxidative stress from taking things like blueberries or oranges. These free radicals, we can get there eating foods to a little bit of an extent. But when we can take care of millions of free radicals eliminated each time, there's no comparison. And when you see this little chart, take a look at this. It doesn't matter 20, 30, 40, 80. Without Protandim, you're seeing oxidative stress keep going up. With Protandim NRF2 Synergizer, we actually give the body a fighting chance. And that's really the most important thing that we're talking about here. So what got me excited to take a look was that my background has to do with lots of research, and we had over 25 peer-reviewed journal publications. Actually, I think we're over 30 at this point. And here's all the different ones that we had publications in. It's everything from the Journal of Dietary Supplementations to Aging to the Circulation by the American Heart Association. It's because every cell in our body is affected by this, and that means it's going to deal with lots of different functions. So when you take a look at the universities involved, see this Louisiana State University? That was the study that I saw that helped me realize this was real science. It was real because it had this product, exactly what's in that bottle, in that study. And what really made me excited and get involved with really wanting to share and have a moral obligation to telling other people was when I saw this next statement. This is from Washington State University. NRF2 is likely to be the most important health promoting approach in the foreseeable future. NRF2 may become the most extraordinary breakthrough in the history of health and medicine. Think about that. It's not this decade, this century, in the history. For me, that was just so exciting. And so when the NRF2 information was there for me, that led me to look further. And that brings us to our second theory of aging, which is mitochondrial health. When we have mitochondrial decline, when we think about our cells, we think about all the little entities that are inside it. That NRF2 pathway we talked about is inside the nucleus. But we also have a structure in our cell called mitochondria. That is what takes food and oxygen and gives us energy. It's the power pack of the cell. Notice here it says the body needs constant power to run. That's the mitochondria, right? We need it for everything from our heart to our brain. Every cell function requires energy. And so we're constantly fixing things. But as that oxidative stress builds up that we talked about, we get damage to that mitochondria. And a funny thing about that mitochondria is when it's taking that food and that oxygen, guess what? One of its byproducts is actually oxidative stress. It actually produces something called a free radical. That's just part of taking in that oxygen and what happens. And so we have to have a solution. Our own body has that NRF2 pathway to balance the cell. So we have the mitochondria making the energy and the NRF2 to take out that waste. But as we start to age, guess what? The mitochondria slow down over time. That's why we have our mitochondrial product, Protandim NRF1. The NRF1 pathway is what is responsible for mitochondrial biogenesis. Fancy word for we make mitochondria. We actually can make more of them, right? That's why you go to the gym. That's one of the ways that you can make mitochondria. You go to the gym and you work out, and that creates more mitochondria. But this NRF1 pathway can also be activated through a product, and that's why we have it. And what I love is through these 5 ingredients in small amounts again, we're going to see increased cellular energy. Who does not need more energy? I can tell you I need it every day, all the time, chasing a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 9-month-old right now. I need all the energy and help I can get. And you know what? The thing that's so important is it's not even about just the energy. It's about that's what keeps our cells intact and keeps it functioning properly for whatever it is that we need, including things like sleep quality. That's really important. That's when we repair at night. You sleep at night, that's when all the work gets done. So it also will help with cognitive and brain health. And you know what? I don't know anyone that doesn't need a little bit of help with that fogginess that we can have, or even having our circulation and our heart work better. So I got very excited about the NRF1 as well, because now we have more or less the yin and the yang in the cell, right? We have the worker bee, and then we have the cleanup crew, okay? And then, as if that isn't enough, we have a third theory of aging, and that has to do with something called sirtuins. Now, I don't know how many of you've heard recently, but there are lots of studies going on and lots of information about people doing intermittent fasting and about doing very heavy caloric restrictions. Well, one of the reasons, well, the main reason they do that, it's sort of a reset button, if you will. That's because by doing that, they're going to start helping our sirtuins to be created. It's a protein. It kind of kicks off or signals our body that we need that to happen again. And what that sirtuin does, if you take a look, those sirtuins are very responsible for helping along with that waste. Remember, the NRF2 does that. Well, this kind of kicks it up a notch. And it also will slow down if we don't have enough of it. So it's some of the things that can occur. We also have a process called autophagy. This is really important for people like me who have a history of cancer. One of the things we want to make sure of is that when we have a cell, when it's gotten kind of banged up and it's beaten up from all the bad things that can happen to it, we do need the body to be able to signal to it, it's time for it to go, and that it needs to die. Otherwise, what happens is those are some of the cells that go on and start doing all the wrong things and can become a cancerous cell. All right. So it's really important when you take a look that it's helpful for mental and physical energy. And most importantly, for all the things it does, healthy DNA function. By having good, healthy DNA function, when you have sirtuins, you're going to have a lot of good things happen. So what do we come up with? Of course, an NAD synergizer. Now, NAD is the pathway to help create the sirtuin activity. It's going to help us to increase that sirtuin activity. So we have these 4 ingredients to help bring about our sirtuin proteins activating again. And when we see that happen, look at the benefits. Oh my gosh, everything from healthy longevity. Who cares how long we live if we're not healthy, right? We want to feel fit and good while we're living long. It improves mental focus and concentration. Some of the things that I really love about it are the fact that it really helps with the inflammatory processes. It keeps cholesterol levels already in a healthy range. That is really important, and it really helps support our vascular system. That's our heart and our blood vessels. So you can imagine when you take all 3 of these things together, what I love most is you don't have to take my word for it. We've actually done some studies to say, okay, each one of them work great, but what happens? See, here's how they do by themselves, which is great. These are some of the genes that they're helping to express. Look what happens when we put them together. It's unbelievable. This is going to give our NRF2 synergizer, wow, look at the boost there. By taking all 3 together, this synergistic is so much stronger than just simple addition. And that's why we talk a lot about our tri-synergizer working together for a very balanced activation in our cells. And so as we talk about that, I absolutely love the activation that we have from these products. And at a later date, in fact, it won't be long, you know, we all have convention coming. You're going to hear me talk about quality controls. And I'll go into that, so don't miss that. But what I would like to mention briefly is we do have other products too that are so good at activating. Axio, oh my goodness, this is the #1 way to activate your brain. This is NRF2, being able to get to your brain and be able to activate it. Our probiotic, you know what? Each one of those ingredients and those activators, the synergizers, are small amounts. If we don't have our gut health properly balanced, guess what? We won't absorb them as well as we can or optimize them as well as we can. So it's really important. And the reason we didn't come up with a probiotic just to add another product. Please take the time to learn about this product. Some of you have probably heard me. I can talk hours on this probiotic because you know what? It does something many others cannot do, and that is it gets through the stomach acid 60 to 70%. That's unheard of. And then it delivers proper probiotics to the right place. That's important because if the wrong ones get in the wrong place, it can be more damaging than help. So we want it to be in the right place. And then of course our omegas, that's gonna take our NRF1, our NRF2, our probio, and our omega to make up our vitality stack. The reason we came up with an omega is because we wanted to have one that was pure. We know exactly from the boat to the bottle what's in it. We don't have to do all kinds of crazy filtrations and all kinds of weird things because there's not bad things in it to begin with. It's very clean fish, and it gives you the proper omega-3 balance. Very, very important to have the proper ratio between omega-3 and 6s. This helps, and right now it's really important to get D3, and we've added that into that omega. So as you can see here, we've got some other products. I don't want to forget about our furry friends. We've got the NRF2 product there too, to help really with our furry friends and give them the same things that we're taking a look at and needing. Oxidative stress being reduced. And our skincare, well, that Louisiana State study was about P53. It was about skin cancer. And they told our company, you would be crazy not to develop a skincare line. And I am here to tell you, I'm very grateful that they have, because I think it makes a significant difference. And today it is still currently the only NRF2 based skincare that actually increases your UV protection instead of removing it like many other products. So thank you so much for letting me take the time to go over our products. I hope that it wasn't too scientific. I hope I could help make it simple. The bottom line is, you know what? This is about activating this. We need our own bodies to do the work, and we have the ability to do that. So we're not stuck with what happened to grandma and grandpa. We have the ability to have some healthy choices and to be able to help our bodies to activate to the best they can be.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Nancy. My goodness, guys, you have just heard this mind-blowing information coming directly from our Elite Pro 7, who is a doctor. Okay, not just an Elite Pro 7, but you were wondering why many, it's increasing its number. You know, many doctors are becoming a network marketer. They didn't plan to be, but you know, wonder why. Because LifeVantage has something to offer to the world. You know, this is a life-changing phenomenon if you don't still get it. And the 3 theories of aging, you guys, definitely, I believe that everyone in this world must be putting this in their mouth, right? And take note that Dr. Nancy Bryan will be at the convention in October. You will be hearing again from her about the quality control, the manufacturing excellence of our products. How cool it is to know how our products are being, you know, controlled, and how is it manufactured, you know, with all this excellence. And thank you, Dr. Nancy. Is it okay if I could open this up to a Q&A? Because you have just definitely, I'm having chills while I was listening.
You're so kind. Absolutely. And I have to correct you. I'm very close to Pro 7, but I haven't quite got there yet. But maybe you're telling me something I haven't discovered yet. I'm very close.
You are very close, and we have to claim it that you are going to be an Pro 7. But
I'm claiming it. I'm claiming it.
Yes, definitely. There's no way but up. Right?
That's
so,
right. That's right. That's right. I'm so close. But what I'd like to say truly is the reason, you know, Brian had asked everybody on this science board to pick certain things. And everybody, you know, I was kind of clawing, and I love prebiotic and probiotic. I helped with the prebiotic. But for me, most importantly, all of these products are phenomenal. But it starts with, if you cannot know what's in there for sure, and know that it's not only actively in there, but bioavailable, and actually the sweet spot of each of those herbs, not just any random part of it, those are things that are really, really important to people with my background, because that's what separates out me knowing when I'm talking to diabetic people and I'm helping them and hoping to help their body get back under control of their pancreas. I need consistency with the product. That's so important.
Wow. That was something profound that you have mentioned, because I believe that we have some people here who are who are suffering from diabetes. So definitely we're going to open. We have so much time. That's the reason why. Thank you so much. If you want to exit out of the screen.
Oh, yes. Let me get out.
So that we can definitely,
share.
you guys. Well, don't be shy, because this is your chance to ask a question.
Well, Kai, I sent a text out to everybody. If you have a question, just say, I got a question, put it on chat, and then I or Kai will let you know. So I saw that Sylvia, so we're going to unmute you. Go ahead, Sylvia, and ask your question. You put your thing.
Okay. Well, Dr. Bryan, do we have any new peer-reviewed studies that you're aware of that are coming out? We were looking for one, especially people have mentioned maybe something for Axio regarding autism, or anything else that's coming out there besides the ones that we have that we're familiar with.
Well, first and foremost, one of the difficulties that we are presented with is that we are not a pharmaceutical. And you need to know and understand how the FDA operates. And I can speak to this because when I went to pharmacy school, guess what? We had a greenhouse. Can you believe that? I mean, an enormous greenhouse. And my hardest class was called pharmacognosy. And it was about taking plants and figuring out what the active parts were and what their medicinal value was and what they did. Well, let me tell you, it wasn't much after I finished school that they removed the greenhouses. And that was because of what I just spoke about. there were lots of things that have been used throughout history, but when they were utilizing plants, no one could ever get consistency. And so the FDA came in and said, we're going to synthesize things and we're going to make a drug. So the FDA came in to be, and that's what they do. They dictate drugs and studies. And so only the FDA can say that somebody can treat, mitigate, prevent, or cure a disease. And as a result of that, we cannot have studies basically that we perform on any disease state, because we could, even if we proved it, we can't state it. And so what we do see though is lots of clinical evidence and lots of things that are done by other people. And so I will tell you that we have more and more and more studies that are coming on NRF2 pathway. And that's going to be where we see so much of the evidence that we have. When you take a look at what that's why I got so excited, because in that circulation by the American Heart Association, they utilized our product, not to test it, but to use our product to prove their theory. I can't begin to explain what a big deal that is. Wow. But the bottom line is they weren't even questioning whether we did what we did or not. They already gave us a given. We already know oxidative stress is what causes all these heart vessels to have a problem. And we want to prove to people that's the problem. And so they used our product to show the oxidative stress happened and then it could be removed. And that is really a significant study for us. I don't think a lot of people want to get into all that science, but the bottom line is people that really do know this kind of thing get excited about that. The people that want to see what we do in disease states, it's going to be harder because we cannot make claims. And so we will be having more and more things coming forward on those pathways, because that's going to be the only way that we can actually present the information. But what you need to know and understand is that when people start to look at things very simply from a perspective of improving the body from the cell out, if we can just start helping people to understand that, all of the studies that you're going to be seeing that will be coming forward, and we have some that are coming. Dr. Sveta and I were on the phone together this morning, and there's some amazing things coming. But the bottom line is that, you know what, have heart. Be able to share with them from your heart. And we do have stories that we can share. Those are really important because in the end, it's those stories that change people's thought processes. And hopefully that'll help answer your question.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Now, Joe, I'm gonna let's open
Christina's
it up for
next.
Joe. Yeah, Joe.
Christine
you have
is
a question?
next.
Christine is next. Okay.
Brains before beauty, Joe. Sorry. Doctor, thank you so much for that last answer. My question is, if someone wants to take the Protandim 1 and 2 times a day, do they need to take the NAD 2 times a day, or is taking the NAD once a day sufficient to cover taking the double dose?
I am so glad you asked that question. I will tell you, I have taken 2 Vitality Stacks a day since they came out. I have a very severe gene expression problem. And because of that, I need everything optimized. And from the point in time that I started doing both Vitality Stacks, my blood work just, you know, my oncologist could no longer argue with me, and then he hopped on board. So again, we don't claim that we treat, mitigate. All I can tell you is my body is optimized perfectly now. When NAD came out, I will tell you that for me personally, I added that in the morning. I do not take it with the second dosing later in the day, simply because I didn't need that much. And I will tell you, in regard to NAD, I think that it is a little bit more dose related than some of the other products in terms of, many of us have lots of different things going on, and it is the turbo to our wonderful line. It kicks things in. You're going to now have Nerf 2 working at optimum. You saw those numbers, right? And you know what? Sometimes with some people, they have to start slow with the NAD. Sometimes they have to kind of work in and out of it because their body has got to catch up. You know, all those different equations have to balance out. And so that's the whole idea. So what I do is I try to tell people, you know what, we're all individual. It depends on the person. And you know what, maybe when they take the second set, if they're going to take a second set, maybe they should try just taking one and see how that works instead of taking 2 of the NAD. And ultimately, I do believe that as people are on these over a period of time, that they probably optimally could add that additional NAD along with the Vitality Stack if they chose to. But early on, I will say that it is a big, big boost to our system. Okay. So they may just have to kind of pace themselves into it.
Thank you. That's
okay. Perfect. Okay, Joe.
Hello,
Joe,
how are you?
Are you there?
I'm here. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm sorry, I was muted.
Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay,
Unmute yourself, Joe. Go ahead.
I did unmute myself, and then I think you remuted me.
The muting game.
Yeah.
How you doing? You had mentioned 2 things that are kind of near and dear to my heart. I got two people that are trying. One person's doing this because he can't sleep, and another person is on so many diabetic medications that that's why they were both interested in this product line. But I don't really know if I understand the mechanism of action as to how this helps with both of those conditions. I know that's probably a complex answer, but as best you can water it down.
No, it's not. I'll tell you, first and foremost, one of the biggest issues that we have today, probably in the United States, 70% of Americans are either pre-diabetic or diabetic now.
Right.
A big portion of it has to do with fat that accumulates around our pancreas. It also has to do with the body's ability in the gut to be able to signal the pancreas. And that's one of the main reasons I was so possessed, if you will, about us having our prebiotic, because the prebiotic, in particular, we've put in specific amino acids along in that prebiotic. So not only does it have 3 forms of fiber to feed our probiotics to go do the work, but it also has some amino acids in it. And what they do is they talk to the L cells in our gut. And so the NRF2 and the NRF1 are working in every cell of our body. So of course they're working to heal our gut cells along with the NAD. But when you have a physicalness of gunk, I don't know how else to say it, and you get inflammatory processes so great, you need to be able to have the communication going on specifically physically in the gut, and the prebiotic has those amino acids. To the L cells are what almost all pharmaceutical diabetic medications function from. They work at that L cell level to signal the pancreas. Well, our amino acids will wake up those L cells. They'll communicate to the pancreas to put out digestive enzymes. And guess what? We now will grab up again the carbohydrates and utilize and grab them to the insulin. What happens is the insulin keeps pumping out. It knows it's supposed to be there, but it's not combining with the sugar because it can't. So what happens when you have that prebiotic along with our NRF2 and NRF1 and NAD working together, you're now going to optimize the body's ability for that pancreas to start utilizing foods for energy again. And it's also going to help the liver to be able to properly do what it's supposed to without getting into a lot of science. And so that's why you'll see many people when they've gotten on our ultimate stacks, once they've added the NAD and the prebiotic, you'll see them slim down in their center section, not because we're weight loss, but it's also the same thought process. Remember I talked about intermittent fasting and caloric restriction?
Yep.
Yeah, of course, as you're calorically restricting, you're going to slim down. But the main thing is you're signaling, you're kind of resetting all that stuff again. Well, guess what? With our NAD, we get 100% sirtuin activity in 24 hours. So you're going to see that start boosting up again for our diabetic and pre-diabetic people. That's a huge thing. And in fact, with me personally, when I'm talking to most people as they're getting started, I do have them carefully watch their blood sugar levels, because I've had many cases when they've started on the ultimate stack where they're going to start needing to reduce medication. They won't need as much. And that's the whole idea behind what I do. The whole idea is let the body optimize so it's doing the work, so that we need as few medications as possible, so that we're not building up other toxins and other imbalances. So I hope that helps you. So the mechanism really truly has to do with those L cells in the gut signaling the pancreas and helping our pancreas, gallbladder, and liver operate properly.
And okay, so just I don't want to take too much time, but so if I understood that correctly, relative to diabetes, it's the sirtuin activity that is the most important?
It's the sirtuin activity optimizes it probably the best. Okay? They're all important. It's sort of like when you have 4 flat tires. Which one do you fix? All of them.
All of them.
You know, they're all important. But the bottom line is, you know what? It seems to really help lift it sooner and better by having that NAD on top of it because of that sirtuin activity. You know what? Our NRF1 and our NRF2, it does help rebalance all that communication, but it's another level up when we're helping that NAD synergizer to help with the sirtuin activity.
Thank you much.
Wow, we are all blessed to have that tri-synergizer in our life, you guys. So let's go move on to Angela Bates, please. Angela, you have a question for Dr. Nancy Bryan? Go ahead. We
can't hear her.
Good. We cannot hear you, Angela. If what next, while waiting for Angela, who has a question? Go ahead, Beth.
Yes. Dr. Nancy Bryan, I'm so thankful that you're so passionate about everything. I was just listening to you today and sharing it with two of my teammates here. And my question is, actually, I'm a breast cancer survivor, and the reason why I took Protandim NRF2 also was because of that LSU study. And I told my oncologist, who is very against me not taking Arimidex and tamoxifen. I just took this.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I can answer this.
So I said, with the side effects that I was getting from both drugs, she started giving me Arimidex. And the side effects were really terrible. I felt like an 80-year-old woman with a lot of joint pains. So she gave me tamoxifen, and I know the side effects were bad chemically, like my brain, I was so depressed and all, but it's more of the osteoporosis that I was so scared of too. So I just took the NRF2 for 5 years and I was good. So, but still at the end of that, she couldn't attest that, the NRF2 helped me. But my question is, you took, will this improve the bone density?
You know what? It's a great question. So here's what happened. First and foremost, you need to know the kind of breast cancer that I had to do with P53. P53 is the gene expression in the LSU study. And for me, in every cell, we have 2 P53 survivor genes, except in my genetic case, I only have 1 in every cell. I lost 7 family members, including my sister, in very short periods of time. And so when I started expressing, my oncologist was very concerned. And so I was on Arimidex and was told I'd be on it the rest of my life. I was miserable. That was about the time frame when I was introduced to this. And I will tell you that over the period of time, all I can tell you is what happened. I don't make any claims, but through that period of time, my cancer titers, which were done every 3 months because my life depended upon it, were terrible for 5 years. When I got started on this, you know what? It gave my own body the ability to start optimizing again. And today, my blood work, as my doctor so eloquently puts it, is remarkably incredible, is how he terms it. But I was, and he took me off of Arimidex. And he told me, he said, I had told you you'd be on it the rest of your life, assuming you were only going to live 2 or 3 years. And I've had my 10-year anniversary. I'm very grateful for it. He tells me I walk in and loves it when I do because I'm a breath of fresh air. And you know what? I'm so grateful because they are now utilizing it in their clinics. And the bottom line is, you know what? We're making progress one step at a time. Did it help my bones? I was his only patient through all those kinds of therapies that I had. They'd call all the time. You have to come in for your bone shot. And then I'd say, please look at my bone scans. And my bone density has done very, very well. Having said that, though, I did formulate back in 2005 a bone product called Bone Growth Factor, and I do utilize that as well. I can tell you that we do need to have exceptional amounts of good kinds of calcium, not just calcium supplement. Like everything else, the product I made had 7 forms of calcium in it, so your body chose every day. And here's the bottom line. I am working with LifeVantage. I keep beating on Brian, and I am going to get us to do this because it's so necessary. But the bottom line is, it's not just one entity. All of you need to know and understand, we have lots of elements that we need to have. Be sure you're still getting good magnesium. Make sure you're getting good zinc. These are all things that our body, these are, you know what, our body, what we're talking about are tools. These are just exceptional tools, but we still have to do the work and get in our exercise and good eating habits, and try to minimize the bad things if you can. And most importantly, you definitely have to have spiritual, emotional, and physical balance. That's so key. And so I don't want you to misconstrue, you know what, that this is the perfect answer. It's part of the answers. But I want you to feel very comfortable that I think indeed it did help you to not have to be on tamoxifen and Arimidex. And I highly encourage people that are going through severe side effects from it to contact me, because I will walk through with them, and we do have enough things that we can present to the doctors to get them to understand. All that does is shut off your estrogen. We don't really, estrogen itself is not the issue. It's all the other stuff. And so what we're going to look at is a whole system approach versus one thing.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Wow. That was remarkably beautiful. So one last question. I think Jeffrey said, are you ready, Jeffrey? If not, we're going to go back to Angela. Yeah. Jeffrey, yes.
Yeah, hi. When taking all these pills, the Tri-Synergizer and the probiotics and all that, do you take them all at once, or do you spread them out, or what?
Oh, great question. Great question. Here's how my day goes. My eyes open. I thank God, and I take 10 deep breaths to help remove all the trash from the night before that was happening while I was asleep. I have a big glass of water and my probiotics. Then all the rest of the stuff, go have a meal and take that all at once. You know, it really works best. Okay. It really is meant to be taken with good fats if you can. I eat my weight in avocados, I think. So if you can get some kinds of, you know, good forms of fats with it, it's really helpful. I've been known to take a bite out of my omegas to kind of help things going. Thank goodness it tastes really good. But the bottom line is, it seems like a lot. The reason is we didn't want to make the NRF1 one big capsule you couldn't swallow, so we made 2. So don't think of it in numbers. Think of all the concentrations of things that are in there, and you're getting a huge garden in just those small amounts of things. Okay?
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you.
Wonderful, you guys. I'm so sorry. I know you guys have a lot of questions. You want to, you want Dr. Bryan to stay here with us, but it's already 9 p.m. and she needs to rest, you guys. And just kindly drop a 1 to show her how much you love her and how much we are so thankful for her. Lots of 1s out there, Dr. Nancy. And not only that she speaks and educates from the heart, guys, you can tell that her heart is also in the right place. And if her health results is, the doctor says, remarkably incredible, well, I could say she is remarkably incredible. And thank you for gracing our show, our training tonight. Thank you for blessing us, my friend. Dear Dr. Nancy Bryan, stay, bye-bye, you guys. Thank you so much. And hopefully you have enlightened, all of you have enlightened all about on our products for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. God bless you all, guys.
Thank you. And Brandon, you were
you.
awesome.
Thank you, Doctor.